Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the Carpinteria Summerland Fire Protection District Board of Directors. May I please have a call to order?
Susie Cawthon.
Here.
Jenna Jenkins.
Here.
John Nicoli. Here. Randy McLean.
Here.
Doug Qualls.
Here.
Robert Kovac.
Here.
This regular meeting tonight is being broadcast live over Government Access Television Channel 21. A recording will be posted on the City of Carpinteria's YouTube channel for future viewing. All right, let's move right on into, let's see, Pledge of Allegiance. Will you lead us, John? Item C on our agenda this evening is the introductions, proclamations, presentations, and recognitions, of which we have none. And item D, public comment. Do we have any public comment this evening? Okay, item E, correspondence. Chief, would you share with us?
Yes, Madam President. So we have two in your packet. One is from Leonard Champion. He's the Allen Hancock College Fire Academy Coordinator. He wrote up a very well-written letter regarding one of our staff, which is Captain Dave Baker. He works at that academy. I think he's been working there a really, really long time. Had some really nice words about how passionate Dave is and how competent and how he takes ownership in the student's success and holds the bar high without compromising the standards, and how proud we should be of him. So I responded back to Leonard. I know he's a very, very busy guy. To take the time to write this kind of means a lot. So I let him know how much we appreciate him sending this letter.
That's great.
The second one is from the HopeNet of Carpinteria. They had a candlelight vigil on Linden Avenue regarding suicide prevention, and they asked me to be a speaker. So I went there as a speaker, and I talked specifically for the effects of that on first responders, not only going the calls and the statistics for what first responders encounter suicide too. So I did probably about a 10-minute presentation. They were very appreciative of that. So that's their thank you letter.
Thank you for doing that. Okay, so item F is the approval of the minutes of the September 4th regular board meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye. Motion passes. So item G is the financial matters. Do we have any questions on the finances?
I have one small question. Oh, there it is. It appears like the property tax, is that running late?
So it is our dry time of the year to get our property tax. Those payments come in January and May. So we're that's why you're not seeing any increase on that till the next payments start showing up. You'll get little amounts coming in, but the big ones don't hit us till the January, May mark. Uh-huh.
That only because I read.
I noticed that, John.
Does anyone else have any comments or questions on the financial reports?
I move we accept the financials.
I second.
Second.
Oh, I beat you. All in favor? Aye. All right, thank you very much. Item H, the Fire Chief Employment Agreement. Consider approving and authorizing the President to execute the First Amendment to the Fire Chief Employment Agreement.
All right, thank you, Madam President, again. So I wrote up a staff report kind of summarizing. It is a proposed amendment to the Fire Chief Employment Agreement. The agreement that's attached to this was written up by our legal staff, how it would look. The bottom line is the California Fire Assistance Agreement, which is called CFAA for mutual aid assignments, provides reimbursement for local government agencies when we're on mutual aid assignments. Currently, a fire district doesn't allow we allow reimbursement for all our safety and fire prevention positions, but it doesn't include the fire chief. It's a very uncommon event, but if the alignment was right, this amendment would allow the employment agreement to have the fire chief fall into that CFAA process for reimbursement of mutual aid assignments. So the recommendation is to review it and authorize the president to execute the amendment.
Do we have any questions? I think we were educated well on this after our last meeting, so does anybody have any questions or any verbiage issues?
I don't.
Fine. Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we will definitely amend that agreement. Item I is the administrative report.
All right, thank you. Just to recap, another full month of busy mutual aid assignments. I'll just do a quick one. We had overhead backup by Park Fire in Chico, up at the Coffee Pot Fire in Sequoia, people at the Line Fire in San Bernardino National Forest, people at the Davis Fire in Nevada, and people at the Bridge Fire in the Angeles National Forest. Currently, everybody's back home, but I think we're getting ready to send some folks out for some assignments I hear might be coming up. Moving on, our Station 61 kitchen remodel project. Had a meeting with BC Tunney and Godkin Design and Build Group. Wanted to talk about, making sure the proposed contract is going to stay within the number that they gave us. I wanted to assure that. What they're going to do is they're going to go ahead and start the submittal for the plan checking, and they really can't answer that without the plan checks going through and the planning and the building department, because they could come back with some major adjustments that's not planned into their proposal. So we need to get the plan checking done. Then God can tell us if there's any major changes, then we would have to come back and discuss that. But if it stays on par with what they believe it should do, then we'll be able to move forward with the contract that's already been voted in. So that's where we sit right now.
So I guess you'd say, Chief, if there are no plan changes or whatever, they're holding to their bid to build
Correct.
as
That's what the
submitted.
meeting was intended. I did mention to them to try to get some written estimates back from their subcontractors, and they said they will certainly do that, but they have to go through this plan checking so they can have something to hand those subcontractors that's solid. This is exactly what needs to be done. They may ask for more engineering, they may ask for more ADA requirements. There's a lot of things that they could put into the ask that we won't know till it goes through that process. Now the subcontractors can provide a real number with what it's gonna cost for them.
Yeah, and I think you're saying that, again, even if there were no plan changes, just going through plan check, I guess these fellows will do like a new ETC or EAC and say, hey, I have a change.
Correct.
That's when we'll hear about it.
Yes.
Okay.
What is the time frame for the check? And what's a good idea of when we can actually start the work?
You wanna answer that?
Yeah, the several months of plan checking, and then after that, the permitting process should take us into March of 2025. And then we cut out of the timeline the holidays, figuring that things would slow down at City Hall. So their best guess is that we'll start demo, if all goes well, by April 1st at the latest.
Good grief.
I have a
Can you
question.
help out your city
I'm
personnel?
sorry. Doing the best we can.
Okay. All right, well, we'll just be hopeful that things will be more optimistically the timeline.
Susie, I have a question.
Okay.
You just, Chief, when you spoke, and you said plan check and ADA. I didn't think of it to this moment. Do we have any concern about ADA with the kitchen on the second floor and no elevator?
So that was discussed. I mean, we did have to do ADA requirements for those bathrooms, but because it isn't public accessible, it didn't trigger specifically for me. The concern would be if we have to put an elevator in that building, that would be a significant cost.
Significant cost and no room to put it, probably.
So if they go through that same guideline when we did the bathroom remodel, which was upstairs also, we should be good. And Godkin believes it's going to be the same process for us, but we won't know 100% until they go through that planning and building plan check review.
Let's hope I'm wrong. Let's hope I have no opinion about it. I just hope it doesn't happen. Thank you.
Okay, where are we back?
Moving on, the Station 6-2 relocation project with Regency. No news report. All we have still is the verbal. We're waiting for that official written document from the geologist. We have already requested more than once to have a meeting with Regency. They are lining that up near the end of this month, regardless of the geology report. They're hoping it's in so we can have a real meeting to really sit down and negotiate hard. Without that report, we're still gonna have a meeting and just see where we're at, touch base, maybe get some direction from there. So we're looking to meet kind of mid to late October with their staff. It's not official yet, but they have some staff out of the area. I'm leaving the area for 2 weeks after today, and Chief Neal's had something going on too, so we're trying to coordinate all those schedules. Moving on with the current Station 6-2 lot expansion, we have a new hiccup on that, so I kept bugging the land surveying company and Caltrans, where we at. Caltrans is now saying part of that lot, the western half of that lot, they can't determine who owns title on that. They don't believe they do. Now, that whole lot, I found out, digging in the weeds on this, that lot used to be the old Covell Street. So it never had a home on it. It was a street.
It was a county road, and
Before the
county
freeway
had it,
came
but I don't
in.
know what happened with
Right.
why Caltrans even got involved, because it was always county.
So it was county, and then it was passed over to Caltrans. Now they believe there's a hiccup in a part of that passing going to Caltrans. So we did bring in a title consultant, dug really deep in all the titles, found out a few key things, but he wants us to now use our real property attorney. So I now have Mark Mannion's firm involved to do some in-depth research on this. From what it's looking like, there is nobody owning that piece that they have concern with other than probably county. That one piece hasn't been passed over to Caltrans. We just need to nail that down and find out exactly who the owner is on that title so we can now move forward on getting title to the entire property without that one piece being removed.
The Colville piece, we met with them, Chief Navarro and I did, on, and actually began negotiating a price and put down a deposit. We need to look back at the numbers on that, and I have the year somewhere. So it was all county at the
Yeah,
time.
but it was Caltrans talking to us saying, we don't have any documentation we own this. We can give you pretty much the right half, but the left half, we don't know where we're at with that. So that's what we're working on.
Okay.
What is this, Susie?
This is Colville, used to go all the way through to the ocean. So it stops, it's right by the antique store, you know, right there, and the park, basically, that we have as a park. So it's just, you know, from here to the end of the building, that amount. But when we initially, with Suzanne Elledge, were looking at, okay, we need to sell that property so that we can buy something, you know, new. They said, you need to go ahead and buy that piece of the lot that was county-owned at the time. I don't know what's changed and Caltrans involved. We did meet with them, and we started a process and actually put down a deposit, so, with county. So that's the piece that I'm talking about. The other piece we own, as was always my understanding. So I'm still trying with Mike, with everybody, to figure out what the heck's going on and not lose the history of what we already did.
Did you
which-
get your deposit back? Or do they
No,
still have some of your money?
Yeah, they would still have it, and I think, you know, so we've got to figure out, and that was what year that Navarro was here. It was the second year of Navarro, whatever year that is. So we need to look back at the money that we spent on that, and I had the name of the guys that we met with at county, and we were starting that process then, which is probably 2017 or 18. So it's been a long term. But what we know is, I mean, we haven't needed it quite yet, but that piece will make our whole piece a lot more marketable when we do need to sell it to move to hopefully our new wonderful station. And because of parking and all those considerations, they said that we needed to get that. So that's the background and why we're pursuing this. But it's been a labyrinth of, I don't know why. Anyway, we'll get it done. I'm sure of that. Thanks, Chief.
All right, moving on to our central station. So I had a meeting at SEP's planning office. They're engaged to give me some preliminary numbers for that whole temporary fire station concept before our November workshop that I'm going to solidify at the end of this meeting. I also brought in Scott Design, who we've used in the past. He's going to be working on, we need to do a plot plan for anything that we're going to design for that property to move forward in submitting plans. So I have the two companies engaged. SEPS will have my preliminary ideas on permitting, planning, and preliminary estimated costs, so I can present it to the board and say, is this something we want to move forward on with this cost base on there or not? So that's where we're going to be in about a month from now. All right, I don't want to steal his thunder, but our new BME brush engine just had a final inspection in Boise, Idaho. They expect it delivered this month. So that Type 3 engine I've been talking about, I think we ordered 3.5 years ago, is looking to show up this month. Chief Tunney here says it should be in service no later than December. Avocado Festival, I heard you guys already talking about it. That's coming up this Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Captain Baker worked on the event action plan, and we are going to be staffing the medical booth with our staff, and we do get a reimbursement for that, so you'll have your personnel there in that medical booth. And then there'll also be a fire prevention component with Mike LaMonaco and his one-person staff to issue out our fire prevention material.
Will they be able to take pictures? Are they taking pictures in turnouts? It's very important. Thank you.
We like that.
A couple more things. The 1805 event on September 20th, I think, went very well. I want to give special thanks to Fire Marshal LaMonica for many, many hours, meetings, to get it up to a successful point, and it went very successful, and he kind of should take all the credit from our agency, getting them to the point where they were able to get the large event permit from us as needed, and it went very well. So thank you, Mike. Good job. And then lastly, we talked about this. I still would like to plan for our next meeting, November 6th, after our board meeting, to go right into a workshop to talk about all these capital projects that are on our mind and kind of get a bigger picture of where they're all going and direction we're going to go with them. And that is the end of my report. You have your BCs and fire prevention report in there, and you have your logistics BC. Tunney here if you have any questions for logistics.
Any questions on the reports? No, very succinct. Okay, then, if not seeing any, we'll move on to board communications. Any board communications? No? Okay, well, item K, upcoming agenda items. Anything that the board would like to add to a future agenda?
Sounds like our next meeting could be busy, so.
I think it
Plenty
will.
for the next one.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Then I will move to adjourn at 5:47. Thank you all.
All right.